Leeds United have just played against Hull City and have just about managed to win 3-1. And honestly, wow, what a game that was. It was incredibly tight from the very beginning. Getting a foothold in that match seemed impossible from the start, but it turned out okay, I guess. And ultimately, we have a lot to discuss. But first, subscribe if you aren't. It's massively appreciated, helps the channel along, and I'm aiming for 3,000 fairly sharpish, so that would be fantastic if you could. Anyway, got to talk about the match. And I'm going to start with the bad news first, which is, I think, a good way to go. Sorry about that. I had to pause the recording for a second because I had a cat sleeping on my lap who decided to wake up very suddenly. It was a match that didn't go entirely smoothly, and there were some very clear issues that we need to work out as soon as possible in this 6-game run-in before the end of the season. Doing so will absolutely be key to promotion. If these issues stay, I can see some cleverer sides working them out and working against us. First up, the midfield was sort of melting from the beginning. Leeds are very, very clearly missing the Bulgarian prince Ilya Gruev, and I think we lost the ball a little bit too often in the middle of the park. What tended to happen was the midfield would get the ball and they would try and play a clever little pass out, and it would end up just being blocked. Or Ampadu would just sort of lose track of it, receive the ball, try and play a long ball, wouldn't work out. It seemed like a lot of the time either we tried to go through the midfield and it didn't work, or we tried to bypass the midfield and that also didn't work. Basically, adjustments needed in that area. Hull also repeatedly just walked through the middle of the park. It was a defensive issue and it ultimately led to them getting more of the ball than they needed to. Not good for us, and I feel like Gruev in that area is perfect for solving that issue because his positioning is stunning, his tackles are brilliant, and his ball retention is top-notch. Once Gruev is back, I feel like all of those issues get solved, but that isn't the case just yet. Whilst Gray and Kamara are both individually good, I don't think the duo works. I think you need someone more attacking and someone more defensive. With this current setup, Kamara and Gray both more forward-thinking midfielders, whereas a Gruev or an Ampadu in there would definitely help. Outside of the midfield, we also had some issues at the top of the pitch. We had a couple little finishy flops, and we do need to talk about it, and I don't want to talk about it because I quite like the person involved. Patrick Bamford missed an absolute sitter. 4-5 yards out, something like that. The ball's whizzed across by Crescencio Somerville, tries to get a touch on it, any other touch, and it probably ends up in the back of the net. But it didn't, which is ultimately what matters. Hit the wrong bit of his foot, shot upwards somehow over the bar, which is not really what you want to see from your centre forward, especially when Patrick Bamford has been on decent form. And the thing is, he's very streaky already. So ideally, this isn't the start of that little downswing in form. He's been on the up and up and up and up for a while now. If this is the down, then we might need to consider doing something about it, but hopefully this is something that he can just shrug off because it won't affect his confidence too much. Everyone misses chances like this. Every single striker in the world is going to miss the occasional sitter, but it's fine because everyone else does it, and that's okay. And Mateo Joseph also very narrowly missed his chance, but at the same time, Dan James's finish was impeccable for his goal. 45, 50 yards out, something like that, fired perfectly into the net. And at that point, it's effectively variance. It's randomness coming into play and causing the odd problem. If you roll a 6-sided die 20 times, on average, you're going to get 3. And I think what happened was we had 3 die. We had Patrick Bamford's miss, let's call that a 1, Mateo Joseph's 2, and Dan James's finish, let's call that a 6. That averages out to a 3. That's fine. Those misses are going to happen. It's the way that we bounce back from them that matters. And now we also have quite a lot of good news from this match because at the end of the day, let's be honest, we won anyway, and that's fine. And we won because of these little benefits. And it wasn't super comfy, but eventually we managed to get the job done. And there were lots of highlights to see in this match, and I'm going to run through those. First up, we had some incredible individual flair throughout this game. One player will have immediately come to your mind when I'm talking about that, and you will probably be thinking of Crescencio Somerville, who is very, very obviously feeling it. His running, fantastic. As per his chance creation, brilliant. I don't know if he'll be given the assist for the Sam Byram goal. Probably not, because it was a shot that was saved. But that's technically a chance that he's created. And his running was fantastic. Managed to go around the fullback, get fouled, win the penalty. And he's got that little boldness, that little braveness that is another big benefit. He's bold enough to claim that penalty. When Piru has set it up and gotten ready, he just walks up to him and goes, "No, I'm having this." Which is apparently something that Daniel Farke wanted as well, because he doesn't want someone that's come off the bench taking a penalty, because they might not be warm and they might have some issues and stuff like that. End of the day, he scored, we won, it's all fine. In the dressing room, I doubt they care that much in the first place, because we did win. In addition to Crescencio Somerville, Rutter is finally hitting his level again. One of the most fun players to watch, is actually where he's meant to be in terms of his quality. We could tell in recent weeks that he was still injured, because stuff that he was trying wasn't quite paying off, which is a pretty big issue when you're Jorginho Rutter and you try everything all the time because you're a very creative kind of guy. But his dribbling was brilliant. He basically created our first goal on his own, taking the ball from roughly our halfway line to sort of the middle of their box sort of area, but a little bit outside the 18-yard box, played out to Somerville, who got that shot off. Byram ended up putting it in, but that has all come from Jorginho Rutter, and I think he could be back to his best, which is absolutely what we need at this point in the season. In addition to that, nice little rest before Coventry as well. Gives him some time to get fully recovered, fit, healthy, and happy. We also had a good amount of defensive dominance. Whilst the midfield fell apart a little bit, the defence was fine. I know, it's easy to get scared when the other team has a lot of the ball, but ultimately that isn't their goal. They don't win games by having possession, they win games by doing stuff with it. And yes, their possession was pretty worrying, but look at the chances. Look at the context. They had very, very few shots. They very rarely actually tested Meslier. I don't remember him actually having to work hard to make any saves in this game, which is good. It means that the defence in front of them is doing their job. And as I've said here, Jothan Rompadu, Joe Rodon, Ethan Ampadu, are getting the job done at the minute. That centre-back pairing is key, and I didn't put this in my notes either, but the fullbacks were brilliant as well. Firpo kept his side very quiet, and Jaden Philogene is meant to be one of the scariest wingers in this division, and Sam Byram just dealt with him. And that was when Byram apparently couldn't sprint throughout the second half, which is great. And the best bit is other parts of the team are also dropping in and helping out with that. So Archie Gray, for example, dropped into that right-back position a few times in the second half, I noticed, which could be to cover for the Byram issues, but it also shows that we've got that high work rate. And at the end of the day, good promotion teams will start from the back. You win leagues by not conceding much and then building from that and ultimately scoring goals because you've not conceded many. If you don't concede, the fewest points that you can get is one. And that's what I think this sort of proved. It proved that the back line, no matter what possession the other side is getting, will not let that many chances through. So ultimately, the verdict from this match is it was scarier than we wanted it to be. Hull had a lot of the ball. They looked like they might be able to create some stuff, but they ended up basically not. And whilst there were very, very clearly some flaws that were present, we were able to work through them. I don't think we solved the midfield problem in this game. I think we won a penalty, scored, and then the midfield didn't need to exist because we could just defend. But at the end of the day, it's the 3 points that count. And I would rather us learn these lessons when we're winning matches and getting 3 points from them than us losing and then learning that lesson. We can learn from this that Ilya Gurov is key. We can learn from this that we need to slightly restructure that midfield to keep it as solid as we can, in the same way that we got a single point against Watford, but we learned that that centre-back pairing was essential. We're getting the points, and that's what counts. And as an example of this, the last time we came up, see the Swansea match, see the Barnsley match, neither of them were comfortable. We didn't blow either of those teams out of the water, but we got the points, and that's what mattered. And it shows a different side to your team, and ultimately you take it and you move forwards and you push on for promotion, which honestly, I feel like this Leeds United side is looking very, very likely to do at this point. But ultimately, I want to know what you think. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about the match, what you think we should and shouldn't do going into Coventry, and whether or not you think we'll get promoted. Like the video as well. Subscribe if you haven't yet. That is always massively appreciated. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. I have another twist in the ice cream story as well. Might have gotten myself some honeycomb ice cream in. I've not had any yet, but good heavens, that's going to be tasty. See you later.